Hey guys, welcome to the driveway. We are sitting here in the evening enjoying this wonderfully warm weather for us in February. I have shorts on, TMI perhaps. We are sitting in front of our Honda Element, which is the primary vehicle we use here as a family and on the homestead. It's the hay wagon, the family truckster and everything. Well, we are sitting in a field of victory from battle. After 2 days, we just finished doing a lot of work to this Element.
It was probably about a good 6 to 8 hours of work.
Oh, at least. So if you're interested to hear a little show and tell and come with us as we do this maintenance, stick around. So the order of operations for this project is pretty much going to be, first of all, we'll start the vehicle, let you guys hear how horrible it sounds. And then we will go ahead and jack up one side of it to take the front passenger side wheel off to have access to the front of the motor, because the motors and the Elements are sideways, just in case you didn't know that. Then we'll start draining the fluids out and tear this thing apart. So,
fun.
Hey, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna save a lot of money by doing this ourselves.
Oh, most definitely.
So hey, just think of all the money you're saving.
There you go.
And then we can have fun. So I'm gonna go ahead and start it up and let you guys hear how horribly squeaky and loud it is. Hopefully the sound is the tensioner or the pulley and not something else that we didn't buy for this project. So yeah, that's pretty bad. Let's see if we can fix it. One of the things that I highly recommend for vehicle work is a smock. This is one out of my workshop that I use. It's kind of nice to keep from ruining my clothes so I don't rub wood glue and everything on them. Well, today it's going to be nice to keep my clothes from getting greasy and dirty. I think Angela would appreciate that, right? So, a good smock with some pockets and gloves, which are really expensive nowadays, but still useful for mechanic work. I have a can of PB Blaster. This is a penetrating lubricant, I believe. What is it? A penetrating catalyst. Well, that's interesting. Basically what this is you spray it on all your bolts and it loosens them up and helps you get them off easier without breaking stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and hit all the things up top that I know I'm gonna need to get to, plus a few extra. Let it soak in and then we'll take the wheel off. Might as well spray everything. There we go. Well, that took about 15 minutes to get the plastic dust shield, whatever cover underneath there taken off. And I did that because I need access to the front of the motor for the bolts for the water pump and belt and stuff along those lines. Along this fun journey of working on the Element, we're also going to be swapping out the radiator because this one has a leak. So that's what I'm going to do next is take this pan, pull the drain plug out of the bottom of the radiator and drain it out, all while I'm down here on the ground. I'm trying to do all the groundwork that I can while I'm down here. While the radiator is draining out, I'm going to go ahead and start taking off the top parts and all the bolts to remove the radiator next, so it's out of our way. Alright, now I'm going to take off the hood latch mechanism because this handle interferes from the radiator coming out. Most everything in this project is going to be a 10mm wrench job. When I'm working on an engine in a vehicle when it's a pretty complex job, I always like to put the original bolts back in their threaded holes if I'm able to. That way I don't lose things or forget what goes where. I'm going to take the radiator supports out now. You want to get a 10mm wrench and work? Or are you fine to watch? Come on, get on in here. was the world's most weird looking overflow tank. We needed a gallon in any size or shape, whatever fits.
And you got new hoses too, right?
I did, yep. Radiator hoses are cheap, so it's kind of a no-brainer, really. Because you'd have to go do all this work again just to replace a $4 hose that you were too cheap to buy. Alright, I need to take the fans off next.
You put on gloves and your whole face itches.
Okay, radiator fans are disconnected. Go ahead and pull the upper radiator hose off. Okay, that's it up here. I need to go down on the bottom of the car, disconnect the lower radiator hose and the transmission cooler lines.
And then this pulls up.
Yep, comes out the top. Are you guys with us? Good. I just finished unhooking both of the transmission cooler lines, the temperature sensing unit or temperature sensor, the lower radiator hose, and the radiator has finally finished draining. And that was all underneath the car. Now I think we're ready to pull this thing out the top. We'll see what we forgot. The radiator is all out, and Angela is going to swap the temperature sensor out for me later over there. What I'm going to go ahead and do while we have it out of the car is go ahead and swap out the thermostat and everything. The thermostat on the elements are right on the front of the motor, down here, where it would be really hard to change if we didn't just take the radiator out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, as well as take out a hidden transmission filter that's in these elements to swap it out as well. I'll show you guys that when I get them out.
Numbered dose.
Number dose. Well, I've got the belt off. 1-2 punch here. I'm gonna move the power steering pump out of our way. Out of our way.
Are these put on like a big triangle?
Yes.
Because I can't find the third one. Oh, there it is.
All you have to do is say you can't do something, and then you can do it all of a sudden.
That's when I talk to myself. There you go.
There you go. Got it. Now, how is that for a thermostat housing? Power steering pump is finally unbolted. Angela's back there looking on YouTube videos, which is rare for her. Kind of get a chuckle out of that. She's not a YouTube watcher like I am. She is researching how to separate the thermostat housing from the plastic adapter that's on the upper radiator hose. So she's having a lot of fun. Wait, that's the lower radiator hose. Whatever. She's having a lot of fun, and so am I. So just letting you guys know, we're all having fun. I have the power steering pump out of the way. The next thing I'm going to do is take off the tensioner, and yeah, that's the next thing I'm going to do. As far as parts we ended up taking off the car, we have a water pump, we have a thermostat, which is a whole big unit on these Honda Elements. We also have a belt tensioner and pulley system, a new belt, a new radiator, new upper and lower radiator hoses, and a new transmission filter that is very rarely known. So hang on, let me grab this. There exists a filter outside of the transmission on Honda Elements, and I believe also Odyssey minivans, that few people know about and can be a cause of a lot of perceived transmission issues. This is it. This little guy. It's nothing. It looks like a big fuel filter. This transmission filter lives right behind the radiator, below the fans, and in the middle of the heart of Motor Town, and is completely very difficult and problematic to get to unless you're doing all this work. So while we have this thing apart, I am putting a new transmission filter in. This Element has close to 185,000 miles, and I am sure that's the original filter. In fact, this is also the original water pump, alternator, tensioner. This thing don't look like it's ever had any work done to it. That's not totally our fault. We've only had it for a handful of years, but it's getting work done to it now, that's for sure. So all that to be said, if you have an Element or an Odyssey minivan perhaps, and you are having some transmission issues, maybe it's not shifting gears as quickly, it's acting a little bit weird, you check the fluid, it looks fine, you've changed the fluid, it's still acting weird, might be this guy. I'd give it a shot. This is a whole lot cheaper than a brand new transmission. The only problem is it's a little bit of labor to swap out. Here is the water pump out of the Element. This, to my knowledge, is the original one. I don't believe it's ever been changed. It was still functional, thank goodness. Didn't ever fail on us, and well, we just got lucky. The vehicle lasted 185,000 miles with the original pump. This one has some signs of wear, obviously. It is long overdue for replacement. There's a little bit of play in the pulley. You can't really see it much, but I can feel it. I'm sure the microphone picked that up. So there is play in this. So obviously the bearings in this thing are shot, or at least close to being shot. So this was perfect timing for us to replace the water pump. In addition to the bearing wiggle, you've got some noise. You should never have that much noise coming from a bearing object, a bearing, whatever. Shouldn't be that much wiggle or noise. So, perfect time to get rid of the old. Here's a look at the new water pump. It comes with its own O-ring. Some people will put some gasket maker or RTV around these things, but this model comes with these little dimples cast into the actual housing itself that holds the O-ring in place. So I would not suggest doing that. I don't recommend it, but you know, do what you want to. It's your car. I ain't coming to fix it if it messes up, so don't listen to me on that front if you don't want to. Otherwise, that is the water pump. It is basically a pulley driven by the belt on the outside of the motor that inside the motor acts as a fan. It's got these little impeller blades that spin and they force water this way, around, and throughout the water jacket inside the engine. We used to own a Volkswagen Jetta, like a 99 model, somewhere around there, and the impeller, so the blades on the inside of the motor for that model car, was plastic. My goodness, what a nightmare, because we were stranded in Tennessee on a trip one day. Angela was like 9 months pregnant in the middle of the summer, and we were stuck on the side of the interstate for about 6 hours because the plastic impellers on the Jetta exploded and meant the car overheats. Can't drive it. So I'm very happy to see that on Hondas, at least this engine, these are stainless and these are super thick metal blades. So hooray for Honda. Thank you for doing that. That's enough yakking. Let's put this thing in the car. Well, on the engine at least. So in the first day, and by day we're saying like the first 4 hours of work, because we started this thing a little bit after lunchtime when I got off of work, and we worked until we were just done working.
It was about 5 o'clock.
We got a good bit done. I say we got over halfway because we got the water pump in.
And we were kind of done after that.
Oh gosh, yeah. Gosh, yeah.
It was almost as hard to get it in as it was to get it out.
I think it was worse because there was a point where one of the bolts we thought was starting to cross thread, and on this motor you got an aluminum water pump and an aluminum block, and then you've got a steel bolt, and steel will just destroy aluminum. So that was fun to make sure we didn't cross thread it and mess it up, but thankfully we got that done and it was good. With day one out of the way, we could start back out here again on the second day. Same kind of situation, came out after lunch, and it was a lot easier, I think.
It was we were refreshed.
Yeah.
We were not burnt out from the water pump.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went straight into putting on the
Bits and bobbins.
Mm-hmm. And we knew that it would be easier to do the alternator, the steering pump, power steering pump, and
everything on
that
the front
type
of the
of
motor.
stuff before we put in the radiator.
Yes, yes. Yeah, those the radiator cavity with it being empty was where a lot of our arms went. And our arms got chewed up and scratched.
There's not much room, but enough.
Yeah. Welcome back to work day number 2. Angela's already digging in. She does have her gloves on now, at least. I had to remind her, I said, hang on, you're going to want to put gloves on because you're going to get dirty. So, got to keep those pretty hands pretty.
Just get your arms dirty.
Yeah, don't matter. We're not in the, okay, I'm not in the looking pretty business. You rock it, in my opinion.
Really.
All right, what she is doing is she is taking off the breather hose assembly here because I want to go ahead and get to the throttle body and clean it out while we're here. The Element's been throwing some check engine codes and has not been running the smoothest with idle. We've already replaced the spark plugs and everything in the past, so we think that we've probably got a gummed up air system a little bit. So we're just going to take it apart while we're here. Might as well, you know. There's no stopping us, apparently.
What else are we going to do?
Right, what else are we going to do? We're going to clean it and everything. While she does that, I'm going to go ahead and start reassembling the motor accessories, things such as the alternator, power steering pump, and serpentine belt. We have the new radiator and we're ready to put it in place. The old one was leaking around where the plastic matches up with the aluminum fins, so that's why we got another one. I've already put on the little rubber mounting grommets at the bottom. This is what sits on the bottom of the frame rail. And I've installed the temperature sensor. These two lines here, if you want to come in a little bit closer, hon. These two silver lines are for the automatic transmission, and there is a tube that runs through here that acts as a little miniature cooler for the transmission lines. I'm going to leave these capped for now so no junk gets in them. When I get everything in place underneath the car, I hook up the transmission hoses and then the other hoses and everything else I can find. But this is the radiator. It's about how big it is, and that's about how skinny it is. It's just a single core or just one row of fins and water. Some other radiators, like for larger vehicles or high performance motors, have multiple cores. The Honda, it's just one. It's only a 2.4 liter motor, so you know, it's not that big. Hello down there.
I don't see eyes. Oh, I see a guy.
Are you having fun?
It's not too bad. I get to lay down on the job. Hi.
How are you? No shot. We're done. Yep. Car's all warmed up. Radiator's topped off. Transmission fluid's good. All the other fluids are good as well. It sounds a whole lot better.
It does.
It doesn't have that whole yeah, terrible, terrible sound. So, all right, let's get our stuff cleaned up. Let's go for a test drive.
And we'll let you know how it goes.
Oh, we will?
Sure.
Okay, well, we'll let you know how it goes. Sit tight. I thought the party was over.
And then putting back in the radiator, I did the groundwork for you.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate it. I mean, you started off by, I think you started off by doing one little hose clamp, and then I just decided to never offer to take over.
You can do the other one and the other one. And the
I'm so chivalrous, aren't I?
It wasn't that bad.
Here's the next part. Oh, here's another part. Wow, you're really quick.
It was actually fairly clean down there, so it wasn't like getting peppered with stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, we're really lucky in the fact that this Element is probably never been in a snowy area or a coastal line.
It's not rusted at all underneath.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons that we've put so much, you know, parts and work back into it.
It's worth it.
It's a good vehicle, definitely.
It does have 185,000 on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot, but I mean, it's a Honda, and they say, I mean, we used to have a Honda that had 320,000 on it.
I was about to say, that's
it was an old
not
Civic.
A lot. Had an 86 Honda Civic, 2-door hatchback. I bought it with like a 300,000 miles on it. And we kept it for several years, actually until Elijah was born. Mm-hmm. And we decided we couldn't put a car seat in it and didn't have air conditioning.
2-door.
Yeah.
And car seat would have been a nightmare to get in the back.
Right. Plus the little car, like little hatchback, we didn't think was very safe. So sold it, and like a year and a half later, I passed that same Honda Civic on the interstate.
Really?
I thought it was amazing. Coolest thing I'd ever seen. It's still going. Woo. Anyway, so that's a sidetrack about Hondas, and probably the reason that we like our Honda.
Mm-hmm. So after taking it on a test drive, what would you say, about 30, 40 miles?
It was at least 40 miles, because we went to the city. You went to the chiropractor. We got lunch. We got other stuff. You know, make the most of a trip. So yeah, we were gone 40-something miles and probably a good hour solid engine time.
And it's amazing how quiet it is now.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, no leaks, no problems. I'm like, yeah. Yes.
Well, that too, but it's nice how quiet and smooth it is. It used to have a lot of hesitation whenever you were getting ready to like pull out from a stop sign or something, and it had none of that.
It used to be very sluggish on acceleration.
Almost like it was going to die.
Yeah, which could be the throttle body we cleaned, so it could have been that. Could have also been the transmission filter we replaced. I mean, they say when you want to troubleshoot or diagnose something, you don't want to shotgun it. You want to change one thing and see if it fixes it. We totally shotgunned everything.
That's
shot
okay.
it all.
It needed done, so might as well.
It did. It did. So that was great. I was the whole back of the Element is loaded up with extra transmission fluid and antifreeze and tools and everything, just in case something went wrong.
Yep.
But I'm glad we didn't have to use it.
Yes, thank you, Lord.
Definitely. Definitely. So I think that's about it. There are other things we got to do this Element in the future, but we're done for now.
We're going to take a break.
We are. It is back running good, and that's good. It's another little box checked off.
Woohoo!
To move on to the next thing.
Well, guys, thanks for watching. Leave a question.
You could do that. That's cool.
Well, guys, thanks for watching. Leave your questions or comments below. We love to read them. And otherwise, we'll see you guys next time. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3.
Hang on. That, and then, okay, pull the chairs away. It's totally a Doug and Ashley thing.
Is it?